So it's a really low-tech presentation. I've worked in corporate America for a long time. And what I discovered was that if someone was going to value up, it was using technology. So since I have my own company, I try to avoid technology as much as possible. A very cool thing to say. But anyway, so what is OnNUp Coaching? How many of you have ever had a coach? Good. What was your experience? Good?
Yeah.
Good?
Depends on the coach.
Good point. So OnNUp Coaching, what is our focus? So OnNUp Coaching existed for 3 years. Prior to that I worked in corporate America, did a lot of coaching there, did a lot of kind of leadership development. And so I've spent the last 3 years trying to find people who want to develop to their potential. So the kind of person that I coach is either in doing something today that they are a bit stuck with and feel like they could do more, or they're in some kind of transition, and that transition might be forced on them by changes in whoever they're working for, or just the kind of the stage of life they've reached. And I also do work with teams using the same approach. So this is where teams are either forming or they've got stuck because they decided they don't like the person that they're working with, and they're not getting kind of what they need from them. Often I find that can be resolved by kind of a better understanding of who your team member is. A couple of examples of the kind of things that I've been able to do over the last couple of years. If you go on my kind of LinkedIn profile, you'll see some of these things in the recommendations. One of the things I try to work with people on is to avoid rate-limiting beliefs. So that's something you believe about yourself that puts you at a disadvantage. So it stops you maybe from kind of going for the next job that kind of really suits you, or maybe just doesn't put you in a position to be successful in situations. One of the most common things I find is that negative emotions are one of the biggest killers for people's performance. And that's kind of where you get in a situation and you have an immediate response to it, and the immediate response isn't quite the one you wanted to have when you kind of go back and maybe read that email a day later and you didn't really mean to say exactly what you said. So one of the things that I work a lot with people on is trying to get them to understand the things that drive those negative emotions. So I had an example myself actually, just coming in. I didn't know where the building was, but I kind of walked around the whole building, and I was kind of getting a little bit frustrated because I knew I was going to be late. And knowing this stuff, sometimes I'm able to coach myself. And what I started doing was counting this is not an entrance signs. And then I was kind of like, wow, I've got a big discount on this is not an entrance sign. And all of a sudden, my kind of negativity about having to walk all around the building kind of dissipated. So that's kind of one of the techniques that I would use. I've helped a number of people find alternative careers. There's a woman right now teaching high school math in New Jersey who was working in corporate America and was not happy for a lot of years, and now she's found a job that really suits her. As I said, I kind of enable people to avoid rate-limiting beliefs and try to get around those, and that's okay. Feels like my time's up.
Technology is also my enemy.
Right. Yes. And my goal basically is all of those different segments I've described to grow those in the Greater Wilmington area over the next 18 months. I had the advantage when I left corporate America of having a lot of contacts, and I did a lot of work with them initially, but I actually found that I feel like my niche is more with an audience that's not necessarily well served by coaches today. So I do a lot of work with nonprofits, I do a lot of work with small businesses, all based on that, trying to get people to deliver to their potential. So that's OnNUp Coaching. I'd love to get any feedback you have around what you heard, and any questions, or is that your job?
That is my job.
We're phasing his job out.
I'm what you would say redundant.
It's a process improvement.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your presentation. You're very well spoken, and I don't mind the lack of technology. It drives us all crazy. But when you're dealing with clients, do you have literature? Do you have what I mean, you're very well spoken. What else is in your service?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a number of key components. One is people tell me I'm really good at listening, which it took me a long time to say out loud because it kind of sounds I don't know, boastful in some way. But so I think I'm able to glean a lot from what people tell me in kind of small amounts. So that's one of the things. Another thing I use is personality assessments. So really understanding, who's the person who's organized and who's the person who maybe needs a little bit of help with that, and kind of leveraging basically. I'm really trying to find an intersection between where are your strengths, what's the things that give you energy, and what brings you happiness. And I find that if you can find the place where all those three things coincide, that's often the way to tap into people's potential.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, what are your rates like?
So I have different rates. So it starts with, I have a 1 hour, $100 consult, which is usually around career, kind of helping people sort of if they're in doubt about careers. I then have a rate for non-profits, kind of a standard rate, and then a corporate rate. And then there's a reason for all of that. The corporate, working with corporates, they don't pay you for at least 180 days.
Yeah.
So, and they need guarantees. So that's one rate. And then I have a standard rate which is $9.95 for 3 months coaching. And then I have discounts on that based on the kind of non-profit stuff. And I do some pro bono work with some non-profits as well, just because it's important to me.
So how do you find clients? 'Cause I feel like a lot of people that need coaching probably don't know they need coaching, or like they're stuck, so they don't even really know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally.
Because I had a coach before, like a couple of years ago. It was like the best thing I ever did, but I didn't realize I needed it until he showed up randomly at the office.
Right.
At work. I think there's like I don't know, I always had this mentality like people are successful did it themselves, like they don't need help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, then you look at like athletes, like Tiger Woods has like 50 coaches.
Yes.
So, but I think a lot of us feel like, especially small business owners, we got to do it all ourselves. So, how do you target?
Yeah. So you're right. So if I would not need any referrals if all the people had said to me, "Oh, someone needs coaching," kind of came to me, and they very seldom do because they don't recognize that they may need coaching. I think the subset of people who do end up coaching, something has changed typically in their experience of what once worked for them doesn't necessarily work anymore. So there's kind of a trigger that's not an untypical reason someone would get into coaching. And that probably is the most significant for me of where I get people from. So I'm sort of being visible in as many places as possible. People know what I'm doing. That drives kind of referrals and clients. When I was kind of insulated with the corporate clients, it took me a while to kind of get out of that and understand that people weren't just going to kind of go, oh, let me look up in the online coaches. Oh yeah, this guy looks good, because that doesn't really happen, and it shouldn't, because you kind of want to have some real life experience of who you're going to be coached by. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Yeah, it does.
I know you had a long background in the corporate world, and I also know there's a lot of coach training programs out there.
Yeah.
After your corporate experience, did you go into any particular coach training seminars or sessions?
I did, yeah. So my qualification is Associate Credential Coach under the International Coaching Federation.
Gotcha.
So that involves doing 128 hours of training plus at least, I think it was 50 hours of documented coaching. And there's a kind of another level which I'm close to, which is, I think it's 250 hours of coaching. So there are a lot. I confess, the International Coaching Federation sounds very kind of august, but it's just one of a number of organizations that have set themselves up. There is a methodology, and there are some things that, to your point earlier.
I understand that helps.
Right.
How did they contact you?
Oh, that would be easy. Yeah, I have. Oh, okay. I have cards, and So I said about what kind of gives you energy. So I have these giveaways that I created, what it's testament to is that I should not be a proofreader for anybody. The coaching is a much better proofreader.
Wait, $5 and they find the error? Is that what-
Yeah, kind of obvious, but yeah.
So you mentioned 4 or 5 different segments, right?
Yeah.
What do you get the most business from? Is it corporate, is it nonprofits? What's your most business?
So right now, my roster of clients is more small businesses than anything else. Yeah. People either in startup or in kind of next phase. So one of the reasons I'm here, I think, is because I ran into Frank in this context,
Okay.
Frank DeSantis.
So you're helping the business owner or the business overall?
The business owner.
Business owner.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are really.
2 or 3 person?
They've got an idea right now in
Okay.
some cases. Yeah. So I use a lot of questions, and what I've done is I've developed a specific set of questions to help people who are starting a small business to be able to help them think through what they need to do, whether indeed the idea is even viable.
And what do you get the most enjoyment out of all the different segments you do?
I think people starting to look for something new. It doesn't happen. So small business is one example.
Right.
But I think where I find so one thing that I find corporate. I shouldn't say this right because someone might want to be a corporate client. But one of the things I find hard about that is usually there's a lot of navigating the politics, which I've had enough experience of to feel like. I find the freshness and the openness of people who are starting their own businesses or people who are looking for a new career actually really refreshing and kind of energizes me.
Okay. Quicker to impact.
Yeah.
Time for one more question. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.